I cannot hold back anymore, my child. The time is now. Stop for a moment and hear me. Do not brush past these words. Do not convince yourself that this message can wait for another day, another hour, another season. What you are feeling right now, that tug in your spirit, that sudden pause in your heart, is not an accident. I have brought you to this moment because there is something I have been preparing to tell you, and the appointed time for silence has come to an end. For so long, you have wondered when. When would the waiting end? When would the answers come? When would the pieces finally fit together? You have carried questions that no one else knew about. You have smiled through uncertainty. You have prayed prayers that seemed to disappear into the night. You have held on to faith with trembling hands, even when your circumstances gave you every reason to let go. And all this time, beloved, you thought I was distant. You thought my delay meant denial. You thought my silence meant absence. But I was never absent. I was watching. I was working. I was arranging things beyond your sight, aligning moments you could not control, protecting paths you could not see, and preparing your heart for what was coming. There were things I could not release before their appointed season. There were blessings that required preparation. There were truths that needed to mature inside of you before they could be revealed. But now something has shifted. The season of wondering is colliding with the season of revelation. The season of asking is meeting the season of receiving. And that is why I say to you today, I cannot hold back anymore. The time is now. You are not here because of an algorithm. You are not listening by chance. Out of all the messages you could have encountered, your eye stopped here. Your spirit lingered here. Something deep inside you recognized that these words carried weight. That recognition was not coincidence. It was an invitation. If you leave now, you may miss the very confirmation you have been pleading for. You may walk away before understanding why certain doors closed, why certain people left, why certain battles lasted longer than expected. You may miss the perspective that turns confusion into clarity. But if you stay, if you listen with an open heart, you may discover that what looked like delay was actually divine timing. You may finally see why your journey unfolded the way it did. You may find that the burden you have been carrying begins to loosen its grip, and the uncertainty that has haunted your thoughts starts giving way to peace. I see you, my child. I see the exhaustion behind your strength. I see the hope you have tried to protect. I see the tears that never reached anyone else's eyes. And because I see you, I am speaking now with an urgency you cannot ignore. Something important is unfolding. Something I have been preparing to reveal. And this message is the doorway. So lean in closely, beloved, because what I am about to tell you next is the reason I could not remain silent any longer. The time is now, and your heart needs to hear what comes next. My child, I need you to slow down for a moment and truly listen to me, because you have spent so much of your life believing that silence meant I was absent. You kept looking around at the pieces of your life that did not move when you expected them to move, and slowly you began convincing yourself that maybe I had forgotten you. I watched you carry those thoughts quietly. I saw the way disappointment settled into your heart over time. You stopped expecting good things because waiting became exhausting for you. There were moments when you still prayed, but deep inside, part of you wondered whether anything would ever really change. I know you better than anyone else ever could, and I know how tired your spirit has become from carrying hope and heartbreak at the same time. But I need you to understand something now. A waiting season you have been living in was never meant to destroy your faith. It was preparing parts of you that could only grow through time, through pressure, and through uncertainty. There were things inside your heart that needed healing before you stepped into what I have prepared for you. If I had opened certain doors too early, you would have walked into them carrying fear, insecurity, and emotional wounds that would have turned blessings into burdens. I was not delaying your future to punish you. I was protecting you while quietly shaping you into someone strong enough to carry what is coming next. You have asked me many times why life felt so heavy for so long. Sometimes you blamed yourself. Sometimes you blamed the people who hurt you. Sometimes you simply sat in silence trying to understand why everything seemed harder than it should have been. What you could not see was how much was happening beneath the surface. While you were worrying about what was not changing around you, I was changing things within you. I was teaching you discernment through disappointment. I was teaching you endurance through uncertainty. I was showing you that your identity could not keep depending on external validation, because people are too fragile to carry the weight of defining your worth. There were nights when you felt emotionally drained and mentally overwhelmed, and you still kept going the next morning. You may not realize it, but that quiet perseverance matters deeply to me. I saw every moment when you wanted to give up but kept moving anyway. I saw the private battles nobody applauded you for surviving. Those moments were not invisible to heaven. They shaped your character in ways you cannot fully understand yet. Now I am speaking clearly because the season is shifting. I cannot hold back anymore because the time is now. Not because everything around you suddenly became perfect, but because your heart has finally reached a place where you are beginning to understand that you cannot control every outcome. You are finally becoming willing to trust me instead of trying to force your own timing. That surrender changes everything. It opens space for peace to enter where fear has lived for too long. You do not need to have every answer before you move forward. You do not need to feel fearless before you trust me. I am asking you to stop standing at the edge of your future, waiting to feel completely ready. Growth rarely feels comfortable while it is happening. But I would never bring you into a new season without walking into it beside you. The same hand that carried you through confusion will carry you through transition too. You are closer than you realize to the life you thought would never come. My child, I know you have been feeling something shifting inside you lately, and at times it has frightened you because you could not explain it. Some days you wake up already carrying a heaviness you cannot put into words. Other days you feel restless even when everything around you seems quiet. You have tried to push through it, distract yourself from it, and convince yourself that maybe you are simply tired. But I want you to stop running from what your spirit is trying to tell you. Come closer to me and listen carefully, because the pressure you feel is not proof that your life is falling apart. Much of what you are feeling is the tension that comes before transformation. You keep looking at your circumstances for evidence that something is changing, while I am working in places your eyes cannot reach yet. Deep transitions rarely begin where people can see them. They begin in the hidden places of the heart. That is why this season has felt so personal for you. I have been confronting the fears you buried beneath distractions. I have been exposing the wounds you tried to ignore by staying busy. There were emotions inside you that could no longer remain untouched because they were quietly shaping your decisions, your relationships, and the way you viewed yourself. I know how uncomfortable this process has been for you. Sometimes you feel emotionally stretched thin. Sometimes you feel pulled between who you were and who you are becoming. The tension can feel lonely because not everyone around you understands what is happening inside your spirit. But do not mistake discomfort for abandonment. I have not stepped away from you. I am walking with you through every uncertain moment of this transition. Stay near me. Stop trying to know what I am trying to heal. Sit with me honestly instead of pretending you are unaffected. Invite me into the parts of your heart you usually keep hidden behind strength. There are habits, attachments, and thought patterns that cannot follow you into the next season of your life. That is why certain things no longer satisfy you the way they once did. You have outgrown environments that once felt comfortable because your spirit recognizes that I am calling you higher. Do not cling to places that drain your peace simply because they are familiar. Release what keeps pulling your heart backward. Open your hands. Trust me enough to loosen your grip on what no longer belongs in your future. You keep asking me for relief while resisting the growth that relief requires. I need you to stop seeing growth as punishment. Pressure can create diamonds, but only when the process is allowed to finish. Your life is not collapsing under the weight you feel. Something inside you is being strengthened. I am building endurance where you once carried fear. I am teaching you discernment where you once ignored warning signs. I am leading you toward emotional freedom, not emotional exhaustion. Take a deep breath now and stop fighting every uncomfortable feeling. Bring your honest heart to me instead. Let me teach you how to rest while you grow. The pressure will not last forever, but the strength being formed inside you will remain long after this season passes. My child, there are still moments when you replay old disappointments in your mind and quietly wonder why certain doors never opened for you. I know you remember the opportunities you begged me for, the relationships you tried so hard to hold together, and the plans you thought would finally bring peace into your life. At the time, you believed losing those things meant you were being rejected. You questioned your worth because something you wanted deeply slipped through your hands. But I need you to look at those moments differently now. Come sit with me honestly and let me show you what you could not see back then. Some doors closed because I was protecting you from futures that would have slowly drained the life out of your spirit. You were asking me for things that looked good from your perspective, but I could already see the hidden weight attached to them. I saw how certain people would eventually wound your heart. I saw how some environments would quietly destroy your peace while convincing you to tolerate less than you deserve. I saw how success without healing would have amplified your emptiness instead of satisfying it. You were grieving closed doors while I was guarding your future. I know that truth does not erase the pain you felt. Rejection still hurt you. Delays still frustrated you. There were nights when you cried because you thought life was moving forward for everyone except you. I heard every exhausted prayer. I watched you smile in front of people while privately feeling left behind. But what you interpreted as absence was often my protection unfolding in real time. I need you to stop measuring my love for you by how quickly things happen. Some blessings arrive slowly because I refuse to give you something that would crush you before you are ready to carry it. You have changed more than you realize. If I placed you back into some of those old situations now, you would finally recognize how unhealthy they truly were. That is growth. Your spirit has matured enough to see what your emotions once ignored. Stop romanticizing what nearly broke you. Stop reopening doors that I already closed with intention. You cannot fully receive the future I am preparing while constantly turning around to mourn what was never meant to remain. Listen carefully now because this matters deeply. I am not asking you to become bitter about your past. I am asking you to release your attachment to it. There is a difference. Let the resentment go. Let the confusion go. Stop carrying old disappointments like permanent labels attached to your identity. You are not rejected. You are being redirected. Trust me enough to believe that my vision for your life reaches farther than your current understanding. Walk forward now without constantly demanding explanations for every closed door behind you. Some answers will only make sense once you fully arrive where I have been leading you all along. Until then, keep your heart open instead of hardened. I am still guiding you, even in places where the path ahead feels unfamiliar. My child, I need you to stop for a moment and pay attention to the way you speak to yourself when nobody else is listening. I hear the thoughts you never say out loud. I know how quickly you criticize yourself after every mistake. I see how often you compare your journey to other people and quietly decide that you are falling behind. There have been moments when you smiled around others while carrying a private belief that maybe you simply were not enough. That belief did not appear overnight. It was built slowly through disappointment, rejection, harsh words, and seasons where life felt painfully unfair. Somewhere along the way, you began measuring your value by what you achieved, who stayed, and how accepted you felt by the people around you. But come closer to me now and let me speak truth into the places where insecurity has been growing roots. You were chosen long before fear entered your mind. Your worth was never created by human approval, and it cannot be destroyed by human rejection either. I knew you before anyone formed an opinion about you. I saw your life before you carried shame, regret, or self-doubt. You keep looking at your flaws as though they disqualify you from being loved deeply. But I do not see you through the same lens you use against yourself. I know the moments you regret. I know the decisions you wish you could undo. I know there are memories that still make your chest tighten when they return late at night. But listen carefully to me now. Your worst moments are not the full story of who you are. Stop introducing yourself to your own heart through failure alone. You have survived pain that would have hardened many people completely, yet you still carry compassion inside you. You still care deeply. You still hope even after disappointment. That matters more than you realize. I want you to release the exhausting need to prove yourself constantly. Rest from it. Step away from the endless pressure to earn love, validation, and belonging. You do not have to perform your way into worthiness with me. Sit in my presence honestly instead of hiding behind perfection. Bring me your tired heart, your confusion, and even your insecurity. Let me teach you how to see yourself with gentleness instead of constant judgment. There are voices around you that benefited from your insecurity because insecure people are easier to control. Some individuals only felt powerful when you doubted yourself. That is why I am asking you to guard your mind more carefully now. Stop reopening your spirit to words that keep pulling you back into self-hatred. Walk away from environments that constantly make you question your value. You cannot heal while remaining surrounded by voices that feed your wounds. The time is now for you to stop shrinking yourself emotionally just to fit inside places where you were never meant to stay. Lift your head again. Breathe deeply. Accept the truth that you are loved without needing to earn it first. Let that truth settle into the hidden corners of your heart where shame has lived for too long. I have never once looked at you and regretted creating you. My child, the time is now for those who have been healed by this word to become carriers of light for someone else still trapped in darkness. Every seed you release into this mission becomes oil for lamps that are reaching weary hearts across the earth. I am breathing courage into souls through these messages, and your support helps keep that river flowing where hopelessness once lived. Did I not say, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over"? I am speaking that promise over you even now. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content alone. You are helping wounded hearts remember they were chosen before fear ever touched them. This is not a small moment. It is a divine assignment connected to the lives waiting for hope on the other side of your obedience. I will honor every hand that sows into this ground with favor, protection, and unexpected provision in its season. Do not delay what I am placing on your heart. Act now. Sow now, and help my word reach the ones crying out for me in silence. My child, I know how easy it has become for you to focus on everything that still feels unfinished in your life. You look at your prayers and notice the ones that seem unanswered. You look at your future and immediately see uncertainty instead of possibility. Sometimes you become so consumed with what has not happened yet that you completely overlook the quiet ways I have already been carrying you. I need you to pause and truly think about how far you have already come. Not everything changed overnight, but you are not the same person you were in the middle of your darkest season. There was a time when the weight you carried almost convinced you to stop trying altogether. You remember those nights when your mind felt crowded with fear and exhaustion. You remember how difficult it became just to keep moving through ordinary days. Yet somehow you are still here. You survived moments that once felt impossible to survive. That was not luck. That was my hand sustaining you when your own strength felt too small for the battle in front of you. You keep asking me for visible breakthroughs while ignoring the invisible healing already taking place inside your spirit. Look carefully at your life. There are reactions you no longer have. There are toxic patterns you no longer tolerate. There are situations that once controlled your emotions but no longer hold the same power over you. That growth matters deeply. Healing does not always arrive with fireworks and dramatic moments. Sometimes it enters quietly, changing the way you think, respond, and carry yourself long before your external circumstances fully shift. I want you to stop speaking over your life as though nothing good is happening simply because you are still waiting for certain answers. Be careful with your perspective because hopelessness can blind you to miracles unfolding right in front of you. Invite gratitude back into your heart, even in small ways. Open your eyes to the steady ways I have protected you, guided you, and kept you moving when despair tried to convince you to quit. You are standing in a season where your mindset matters more than you realize. If you constantly stare at what is missing, you will overlook the doors quietly opening around you. Do not let frustration rob you of discernment. Slow down. Sit with me daily instead of rushing through life emotionally distracted. Let me teach you how to recognize progress beyond immediate results. The time is now for you to stop living as though your story is permanently stuck. You are not trapped in the same place emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Even this message reaching your heart is evidence that something inside you is awakening again. Hope is returning little by little, even if you are afraid to admit it fully yet. Take my hand and keep walking forward. There is still more ahead of you than behind you. My child, I want you to be honest with yourself about how exhausted you have become. Not just physically tired, but deeply worn down in places inside you that nobody else can fully see. You have carried responsibilities, worries, emotional wounds, and silent fears for so long that you barely remember what it feels like to rest without guilt. Even when your body slows down, your mind keeps racing. You lie awake replaying conversations, preparing for problems that have not even happened yet, and carrying emotional weight that was never meant to sit on your shoulders alone. I have watched you try to be strong for everyone while quietly collapsing within yourself. Come sit with me for a moment and stop pretending that constant pressure is normal. You were not created to survive life with your heart clenched tight every day. Somewhere along the journey, you began believing that asking for help made you weak. You convinced yourself that you had to hold everything together or everything around you would fall apart. But listen carefully to me now. Strength is not found in carrying unbearable burdens alone until your spirit breaks under the weight. Real strength is allowing yourself to trust me enough to loosen your grip and admit that you are tired. I know there are people who depended on you emotionally while ignoring what you needed in return. I know you became the safe place for others while secretly wishing someone would notice how much pain you were hiding too. You gave your energy away piece by piece until you barely recognized your own emotional limits anymore. That is why your soul feels stretched thin now. You kept pouring from places inside you that had not been refilled in far too long. So stop for a moment. Breathe slowly. Bring me the thoughts you keep locked away behind your smile. Bring me the fears you hide during quiet nights. Bring me the anger you feel guilty for carrying. Do not clean yourself up emotionally before coming to me. Come honestly. Sit with me exactly as you are instead of waiting until you feel stronger. I already know the hidden places in your heart, and I am not turning away from you because of them. You have spent too much time trying to rescue everyone else while neglecting your own healing. That pattern cannot continue into the season ahead. There are blessings, relationships, and opportunities waiting for you, but you cannot receive them well while emotionally drained and spiritually disconnected. Let me teach you how to rest again. Step away from the constant need to control every outcome. Release the pressure of trying to fix everything overnight. Trust me enough to believe that I can carry what overwhelms you. The time is now for you to stop surviving and start healing. Stop calling exhaustion maturity. Stop glorifying burnout as though it proves your worth. Your soul needs restoration, not endless pressure. Walk with me slower if you need to, but keep walking beside me. You do not have to carry this mountain alone anymore. My child, I know there are still names that bring pain into your chest when you think about them. There are people you love deeply who are no longer beside you, and part of you still struggles to understand why things unfolded the way they did. You replay conversations. You revisit memories. Sometimes you wonder whether you could have said something differently or held on more tightly. But I need you to stop tormenting yourself over every person who walked away from your life. Come closer and listen carefully, because some departures were necessary, even if they wounded you deeply at the time. You keep viewing every loss as proof that you were not enough, but not every ending was a reflection of your worth. Some people were only assigned to certain chapters of your journey. Some relationships could not continue because where I am leading you requires peace, honesty, and emotional safety. There were individuals around you who benefited from your insecurity, your overgiving nature, and your fear of being abandoned. You tolerated things that slowly damaged your spirit because you were afraid of losing connection. I saw the emotional bruises you tried to ignore. I saw how certain relationships left you feeling drained instead of valued. I know separation hurt you. I know there were nights when the silence after someone left felt unbearably loud. You missed what felt familiar, even when it was unhealthy. That is part of being human. But I need you to stop romanticizing connections that repeatedly broke your peace. Not everyone who had access to your heart deserved permanent residence there. Some people were preventing your growth while convincing you they were helping you survive. Look honestly at what certain relationships produced inside you. Did they pull you closer to peace or deeper into confusion? Did they strengthen your spirit or constantly leave you anxious, insecure, and emotionally exhausted? Ask yourself those questions honestly instead of through the lens of loneliness. Sometimes your fear of being alone made unhealthy attachment feel like love. Release the need to chase people who already showed you they were unwilling to handle your heart carefully. Stop reopening doors that I closed for your protection. You cannot keep dragging old emotional baggage into the future I am preparing for you. Some of the people you miss were tied to versions of yourself that I am asking you to outgrow now. This does not mean you must become cold or bitter. Keep your heart soft, but also keep your discernment sharp. Learn the difference between loving someone and losing yourself trying to keep them. Invite me into your relationships moving forward. Let me guide you toward people who bring peace instead of chaos, honesty instead of manipulation, and encouragement instead of constant emotional confusion. The time is now for you to stop grieving what was removed to protect your future. I know it hurt, but not every closed chapter was a tragedy. Some endings were rescue missions in disguise. My child, there is something I need you to understand clearly because you have spent so much of your life trying to earn peace through performance. You keep believing that if you work harder, fix more things, stay productive enough, or become useful enough to everyone around you, then eventually your heart will finally feel settled. But look honestly at what that way of living has done to you. You have become exhausted trying to maintain an image of strength while quietly feeling disconnected inside. You stay busy because stillness makes you uncomfortable. The moment life becomes quiet, thoughts you have avoided begin rising to the surface, and instead of sitting with me honestly, you reach for distractions to drown out what your soul is trying to say. I am not asking you for perfection. I am asking for your attention. There is a difference, and you need to let that truth sink deeply into your spirit. You can impress people while still feeling empty inside. You can accomplish goals while your heart remains restless. You can appear successful outwardly while inwardly carrying confusion, fear, and emotional starvation. I never created you to live like a machine constantly running on pressure and performance. I created you for connection with me. Come closer now and stop trying to hand me polished versions of yourself. Stop editing your emotions before bringing them into my presence. Sit with me honestly. Talk to me about the fears you avoid naming. Speak openly about the disappointment you keep burying beneath bitterness. Invite me into the hidden corners of your mind where anxiety hath been quietly growing. I already know what lives there, but I need you to stop hiding from your own heart. You have allowed noise to become normal in your life. Endless scrolling, endless pressure, endless comparison. Your attention has been scattered in 1,000 directions, and your spirit has grown tired because it was never designed to live disconnected from peace for this long. That constant mental noise is drowning out my voice. Slow down now. Turn away from the distractions that leave your soul emptier every time. Put down what keeps stealing your focus and come sit with me in the quiet again. There are things I want to show you, but you cannot hear clearly while your heart is constantly overstimulated. Discernment grows in stillness. Healing grows in honesty. Wisdom grows when you stop rushing through your life emotionally disconnected from yourself and from me. The time is now for you to stop confusing activity with purpose. Not everything demanding your attention deserves access to your spirit. Guard your peace more carefully. Protect your inner life instead of constantly sacrificing it to keep everyone else comfortable. You do not need to prove your worth through exhaustion anymore. Breathe slowly now and let yourself rest in my presence without needing to perform. I am not asking you to impress me. I am asking you to stay close to me. My child, as you slow down and return your attention to me, I am also calling you to help carry my voice into homes filled with anxiety, exhaustion, and spiritual emptiness. There are souls scrolling through darkness right now, desperate for one word that reminds them they are not alone, and your generosity becomes part of that answered prayer. Every super thanks, every membership, and every gift through the PayPal link in the description becomes like fresh manna falling in dry places where weary hearts are starving for peace. Did I not tell you that those who water others will themselves be watered? I am watching every act of obedience that flows from love instead of pressure. This mission is not built on performance, but on surrendered hearts willing to keep my fire burning brightly in this generation. As you sow into this work, I will pour strength into the areas where exhaustion once tried to overtake you, and I will guard the peace you have been fighting to recover. The time is now. Do not ignore the stirring in your spirit. Support this mission today and help my voice reach the hearts that desperately need to hear it. My child, I know fear has kept you standing still in places where I have already been asking you to move. You have waited for certainty before taking steps forward. You keep telling yourself that once you feel stronger, wiser, more healed, or more confident, then you will finally trust what I placed inside your heart. But I need you to understand something important now. If you wait until fear disappears completely, you may spend your whole life standing at the edge of your purpose without ever stepping into it. You think readiness always arrives as confidence, but many times it begins as quiet trust in the middle of uncertainty. I know you are afraid of making mistakes. I know part of you worries about failing publicly, being judged, or discovering that you are not capable enough. Those fears have whispered to you for so long that they started sounding like truth. But listen carefully to me now. Fear becomes powerful when you keep obeying it. Every time you shrink back from opportunities because of self-doubt, fear grows stronger inside your life. Come closer and let me remind you how many things you have already survived that once terrified you. There were seasons you thought would completely destroy you emotionally, yet somehow you kept going. There were painful endings you believed you would never recover from, and still you are here breathing, learning, growing, and searching for hope again. Its strength inside you did not appear by accident. I have been building resilience in you quietly through every difficult season you walked through. Stop demanding guarantees before you trust me. Growth does not happen while you remain hidden inside comfort and control. Some of the prayers you keep asking me to answer require movement from you first. Open the door. Make the call. Speak honestly. Start the project. Walk away from what keeps harming your peace. Forgive the person you keep avoiding in your heart. Take one faithful step instead of waiting for the entire path to become visible. I know uncertainty makes you uncomfortable, but your future cannot unfold while you remain emotionally parked in fear. You were not created to live small because of imagined failure. You have already lost too much time doubting what I placed inside you. There are opportunities approaching your life that require courage, not perfection. You do not need complete clarity to begin moving. You simply need enough trust to take the next step beside me. The time is now for you to stop asking fear for permission to obey me. Fear will always tell you to wait longer. It will always point toward worst-case scenarios and unfinished healing. But I am asking you to trust my guidance more than your anxiety. Let your faith become louder than the voice convincing you to stay stuck. Take my hand now and move forward with me. You do not have to feel fully ready for me to lead you somewhere beautiful. My child, there are moments when you look at your life and only see what went wrong. You remember the heartbreaks more clearly than the victories. You think about the prayers that seemed delayed, the seasons that drained you emotionally, and the battles that took more strength than you thought you had. Sometimes you even wonder how much more you can carry before something inside you finally gives out completely. But I need you to stop for a moment and look at one truth you keep overlooking. You are still here. After everything that tried to break you, silence you, exhaust you, and pull you apart, you are still standing. Do not dismiss that lightly. There were storms in your life fierce enough to swallow your peace whole. There were nights when your thoughts felt like crashing waves and you barely recognized yourself anymore. You smiled in front of people while privately carrying pain heavy enough to make your chest feel tight. You walked through disappointments that shook your confidence and betrayals that made it difficult to trust anyone fully again. Yet even during those moments, my hand never left your life. You could not always feel me clearly because fear and exhaustion clouded your heart. But I was carrying you through places where your own strength would not have been enough. Come sit with me now and remember how many times things could have become worse than they did. You call some moments coincidence, but I call them protection. There were dangers you never saw. There were situations I quietly redirected. There were doors I shut because the path behind them would have wounded you far more deeply than you realized. Even in your darkest seasons, I never stopped watching over you. I know you have questioned your strength lately. You compare yourself to who you used to be and wonder why you feel more fragile now. But survival changes people. Carrying emotional pain for long periods leaves marks on the heart. That does not make you weak. It makes you human. Stop criticizing yourself for being affected by things that genuinely hurt you. Instead, invite me into those wounded places and allow me to restore what constant pressure has drained from your spirit. Do not keep living as though your story is defined only by suffering. Lift your eyes and notice how much resilience has already grown inside you. You earned discernment through disappointment. You earned endurance through uncertainty. You learned compassion because you understand pain personally now. None of that growth was meaningless. The time is now for you to stop speaking over your life as though you are abandoned. You are not walking through this world alone. Even when your faith felt weak, my presence remained beside you. Rest in the truth for a moment. Let it settle into your heart slowly. You survived because I stayed close to you when everything else felt unstable. Take my hand again and stop doubting whether I can carry you through what comes next. I already carried you through mountains you once thought impossible to survive. My child, I know there are prayers you no longer speak out loud because disappointment convinced you they would never be answered. At first, you prayed with hope. You believed things would change. You trusted that doors would open, hearts would heal, and pain would finally loosen its grip on your life. But as time passed and nothing seemed to move, your faith became quieter. You stopped expecting much because repeated disappointment made hope feel dangerous. It became easier to prepare for silence than to risk believing again. I heard every prayer anyway. Even the ones spoken through tears instead of words reached me. I listened to your exhausted sighs during sleepless nights. I heard the silent questions hidden behind your smiles when you told people you were fine while quietly breaking inside. Nothing about your pain escaped my attention. You may have stopped talking about certain dreams because they hurt too much to revisit, but heaven never forgot what your heart once longed for. Come closer to me now and let me speak gently into the disappointment you have been carrying. Delayed answers are not proof that I ignored you. Sometimes timing protects you in ways your current understanding cannot yet recognize. There were seasons when your heart was asking for things that your spirit was not yet prepared to carry. There were situations unfolding behind the scenes that needed more time than you realized. You kept measuring my faithfulness by visible results while I was still arranging pieces you could not yet see. I know waiting wounded your confidence. I know there were moments when you looked at other people receiving breakthroughs while your own life felt painfully still. Jealousy, frustration, confusion, and sadness all tangled together inside you, and then guilt followed because you thought you should have stronger faith. But listen carefully to me now. I was never asking you to become emotionless. I simply wanted you to keep bringing your honest heart to me instead of walking away in despair. Do not bury your hopes alive just because the process took longer than expected. Invite me back into the dreams you abandoned emotionally. Open those hidden rooms in your heart again. Talk to me honestly about what still hurts. Let yourself hope carefully again instead of pretending you no longer care. You were never meant to become numb simply because waiting became difficult. The time is now for you to stop assuming silence means absence. Seeds grow underground long before fruit appears above the surface. Much of what I am doing in your life has been happening quietly, deeply, and patiently beyond what your eyes could measure. Trust does not always grow loudly. Sometimes it grows solely through endurance. Hold my hand and keep praying even when answers feel delayed. I am still listening more closely than you realize, and your story is not finished yet. My child, there are memories you still carry that quietly shape the way you see yourself every single day. Some of them are painful conversations that never fully left your heart. Some are moments of failure you replay whenever fear rises inside you. Some are betrayals that change the way you trust people. You have learned how to continue functioning while carrying these emotional chains, but surviving with pain is not the same as healing from it. I need you to stop pretending the past no longer affects you when parts of your spirit are still trapped there. Come sit with me honestly now. Stop pushing these wounds deeper every time they rise to the surface. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. I know there are moments you wish you could erase completely. I know shame still whispers to you late at night, reminding you of decisions you regret. But listen carefully to me now. Your past may explain some of your pain, but it does not have permission to define your future. Stop introducing yourself through your worst moments. Stop carrying old labels like permanent chains wrapped around your identity. You have spent too much time mentally revisiting places that already wounded you enough the first time. Every time you replay certain memories without healing, you reopen emotional doors that keep draining your peace. I know forgiveness feels complicated for you because part of you fears that letting go means excusing what happened. But forgiveness is not pretending the wound was harmless. Forgiveness is refusing to let the wound continue controlling your heart. I want freedom for you, not endless emotional captivity. Bring those memories to me now instead of hiding them behind distractions and forced smiles. Speak honestly with me about what still hurts. Let yourself grieve properly instead of carrying silent sorrow for years. There are emotions buried inside you that need space to breathe before healing can begin. Do not rush this process, but do not avoid it either. Healing rarely happens by pretending nothing affected you. I also need you to stop punishing yourself for things I already forgave. You keep reopening cases that haven't already closed. You look at yourself through the lens of guilt while I continue looking at you through love and restoration. That constant self-condemnation is exhausting your spirit. Release it now. Lay it down. Stop dragging chains into a future where they no longer belong. The time is now for you to loosen your grip on the pain that keeps pulling your heart backward. You cannot fully receive peace while constantly feeding old wounds with fresh attention. Turn toward me instead. Let me reshape the way you see your story. Even broken chapters can become places where wisdom, compassion, and strength begin growing quietly. Take a deep breath and stop living as though your life ended in the middle of your pain. There is still more ahead of you, but you must stop building your identity around what hurt you. Walk with me out of the past now. Your healing matters too much to stay trapped there forever. My child, many people remain emotionally chained to wounds they do not know how to escape, and I am using this message like a key to unlock prison doors hidden deep inside their hearts. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are helping broken souls encounter healing instead of hopelessness. Every seed planted into this work becomes living water flowing into dry and forgotten places. Did I not say I restore the years the locusts have eaten? I am still restoring lives even now through vessels willing to help carry my word forward. Some who hear these messages were moments away from surrendering to despair, but your giving helps place light directly into their darkness at the exact time they need it most. I will not overlook the hands that choose compassion over comfort, and I will breathe increase, protection, and divine favor over those who sow faithfully into my work. This is your moment to release what I have placed in your spirit and become part of someone else's healing story. Do not wait. Give now, support now, and help break chains for souls crying out for freedom. My child, I know loneliness has touched your heart in ways you rarely talk about openly. There have been moments when you sat in crowded rooms and still felt emotionally distant from everyone around you. There were nights when silence felt unbearably loud, and you wondered whether anyone truly understood what you carried inside. You tried reaching for connection in different places, hoping something or someone would finally quiet the emptiness you felt growing within you. Sometimes you blamed yourself for feeling this way. Other times you convinced yourself that maybe you were simply too difficult to love deeply. But come closer and listen carefully, because I need you to understand something important now. Your loneliness was never proof that I abandoned you. Some seasons became quiet because I was pulling you away from noise that kept distracting your heart. I know solitude frightened you because it forced you to sit face to face with emotions you spent years avoiding. Yet some of the deepest healing begins when distractions fade and your soul finally becomes honest again. I watched you search for validation from people who could not even fully carry their own wounds. I saw you overextend yourself emotionally just to avoid feeling unwanted. You gave too much of yourself hoping it would guarantee connection, but constantly abandoning your own needs only left your spirit emptier over time. That is why I allowed certain seasons of separation, not to punish you, but to teach you that your worth cannot depend entirely on human closeness. Sit with me now instead of immediately trying to fill every quiet moment with distraction. Turn off the noise for a while. Put down the constant scrolling, the endless comparison, and the emotional chasing that leaves you drained afterward. Let your heart breathe in my presence again. You do not need to fear stillness. I am with you there too. I know loneliness can make old insecurities louder. It can convince you that you are forgotten, overlooked, or unimportant. But those thoughts are not truth. Your value does not disappear simply because certain people failed to recognize it. Stop measuring your importance by who stayed and who left. Human inconsistency cannot determine your identity. There are connections I am preparing for your future that will not require you to shrink yourself emotionally just to be accepted. But before those relationships fully arrive, I need you to learn how to remain rooted in my love first. Otherwise, you will continue handing people the power to determine your peace. The time is now for you to stop interpreting every lonely season as rejection. Some moments of solitude became sacred spaces where I was quietly rebuilding your heart. Let me continue that work. Invite me into the emptiness instead of trying to escape it immediately. Healing often grows slowly in quiet places. You are not abandoned, my child. Even in your loneliest moments, I remain closer to you than your next breath. My child, I know how hard you tried to hold everything together. You think constantly about what could go wrong, what needs fixing, what might fall apart if you stop managing every detail. Your mind rarely rests because part of you believes that staying alert will somehow protect you from pain. You have spent years carrying invisible tension in your body and spirit, always preparing for the next disappointment before it even arrives. Even in moments that should feel peaceful, your thoughts keep racing ahead, searching for danger like a storm scanner sweeping the horizon again and again. Come closer now and listen carefully, because I need you to understand something that can change the way you live. Peace does not grow from controlling every outcome around you. Real peace is born when you trust me enough to loosen your grip on things you were never meant to carry alone. You keep exhausting yourself trying to predict the future, manage people's reactions, and avoid every possible mistake. But control is a heavy chain, my child. The more tightly you hold it, the more drained your spirit becomes. I know why you struggle with this. Life hurt you in places where you once felt safe. Unexpected pain taught you to stay guarded. Betrayal taught you to anticipate disappointment. Seasons of uncertainty convinced you that if you relaxed even slightly, everything around you might collapse overnight. But I never asked you to become your own source of security. That burden is crushing your heart slowly. Lay it down now. Stop carrying tomorrow before it arrives. Sit with me honestly and breathe for a moment without rehearsing every fear in your mind. Invite me into the chaos you keep trying to organize alone. Tell me what scares you instead of hiding behind forced strength. I am not disappointed by your anxiety. I simply do not want anxiety becoming the voice that guides your life. There are things happening right now beyond your understanding and beyond your control, but not beyond my reach. You do not need to monitor every wave to trust that I can still guide the ship safely through the storm. Some answers will arrive gradually. Some situations will remain uncertain for a while. Yet your peace cannot depend entirely on circumstances becoming predictable first. The time is now for you to stop living emotionally clenched. Relax your shoulders and clench your heart. Step away from the exhausting cycle of overthinking every detail until your spirit feels frayed thin like worn fabric pulled too tight for too long. Let me carry what overwhelms you. Trust does not mean pretending difficulties do not exist. Trust means believing I remain present even when life feels uncertain. Walk with me through the unknown instead of fighting it alone. Peace is waiting for you there, but you must stop trying to control every corner of the journey before you allow yourself to receive it. My child, there is something inside your heart that has been aching for approval longer than you realize. You have spent so much of your life trying to feel enough through the opinions of other people. Sometimes you worked harder than necessary just to feel noticed. Sometimes you stayed silent about your own pain because you feared becoming inconvenient to others. You adjusted yourself emotionally in different rooms, hoping acceptance would finally quiet the insecurity growing within you. Yet no matter how much effort you gave, peace still felt temporary because human approval changes like shifting sand beneath tired feet. Come closer and let me speak honestly with you now. You were never created to build your identity on unstable voices. People are imperfect. Some will misunderstand you. Some will project their own wounds onto you. Some will only value you when you are useful to them. If you continue handing your self-worth to fragile human opinions, your heart will remain trapped on an exhausting emotional roller coaster forever. I know certain words spoken over your life left deep marks on you. Criticism stayed longer in your memory than kindness ever did. Rejection made you question yourself in ways nobody else fully saw. There are still moments when old voices echo inside your mind, telling you that you are behind, unwanted, disappointing, or not valuable enough. But I need you to stop treating those voices like truth. Just because pain spoke loudly does not mean it spoke accurately. Look at how much energy you have sacrificed trying to prove yourself. You overextended yourself emotionally. You tolerated disrespect just to avoid losing connection. You apologized for things that were never your fault. You carried pressure that slowly drained joy from your spirit because you believed being loved required constant performance. That is not the life I want for you. Sit with me now and allow me to untangle your identity from the expectations of people who could never fully see your heart in the first place. Stop chasing validation from those who only clap when you exhaust yourself for their comfort. Walk away from environments where your worth always feels conditional. Protect your spirit from relationships that constantly leave you questioning whether you are lovable enough. The time is now for you to stop introducing yourself through insecurity. Lift your head and remember who you are beyond other people's opinions. You are not valuable because everyone approves of you. You are valuable because I created you intentionally. That truth does not disappear when others fail to recognize it. Invite me into the places where rejection still hurts. Let me rebuild your confidence slowly and honestly instead of forcing yourself to appear strong. You do not need to spend the rest of your life begging for scraps of validation from people who cannot even heal their own emptiness. Come walk beside me now. Let my voice become louder than the criticism that has shaped your self-image for far too long. My child, there were seasons when you truly believed nobody noticed how hard you were fighting just to keep going. You carried responsibilities during the day while privately feeling emotionally exhausted underneath the surface. People saw your smile, your routine, your ability to keep functioning, but they did not see the quiet battles happening inside your mind every night. They did not hear the thoughts you wrestled with when everything became silent. They did not feel the heaviness you carried into ordinary moments while pretending you were fine. But I saw all of it. I watched you walk through days when even simple tasks felt overwhelming. I saw you trying to stay strong while fear quietly wrapped itself around your thoughts like thick fog settling over a dark road. There were moments when your heart felt bruised and weary, yet you still showed kindness to others while secretly wondering who would care for you with the same gentleness. You kept moving because you felt you had no other choice, but carrying silent pain for so long changed something inside you. It made you feel invisible at times, almost forgotten. Come closer now and let me speak truth into that loneliness. You were never abandoned during those hidden battles. Not once. Even when nobody else recognized the weight you carried, I remained beside you through every trembling moment. I heard the prayers you whispered half-heartedly because disappointment had drained your confidence. I stayed near during nights when you stared into darkness, wondering whether life would ever feel lighter again. You may have felt emotionally stranded, but you were never spiritually alone. Stop minimizing what you survived just because other people never fully understood it. Some of your hardest battles happened quietly inside your heart where nobody could applaud your endurance. Yet heaven saw every moment. I saw the strength it took for you to continue showing up after heartbreak, rejection, exhaustion, and disappointment kept crashing into your life like wave after wave against fragile shorelines. Do not call yourself weak after surviving storms that nearly drowned your peace completely. I need you to stop isolating yourself emotionally now. Bring your pain into my presence instead of carrying it in silence. Speak honestly with me about the fears that still linger. Tell me where you feel worn down. Invite me into the places where discouragement has quietly settled inside you. Healing begins when honesty enters the room. The time is now for you to stop believing the lie that nobody cares about your struggle. I care deeply. I have never overlooked your tears, your prayers, or your exhaustion. Rest beside me for a while instead of constantly forcing yourself to appear strong. You do not need to earn compassion from me through perfect faith or endless resilience. Take my hand and let yourself breathe again. You survived because I kept holding you steady during moments when you thought you might completely fall apart. My child, there are silent battles being fought behind closed doors all over this world, and I am using these messages to remind weary hearts that they have not been forgotten. Every act of support through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes fuel for this fire of encouragement reaching the broken, the exhausted, and the lonely. Your giving is not ordinary. It is seed cast into eternal ground where unseen lives are being strengthened and restored. Did I not promise that those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy? I am watching every sacrifice made from a willing heart, and heaven records what love releases in secret. Some people listening are surviving on the final thread of hope, and through your obedience, my voice reaches them before despair convinces them to give up completely. I will surround those who support this mission with grace in difficult seasons, peace in troubled moments, and provision that arrives at the appointed time. The time is now to stop hesitating when I move on your heart. Step forward, give boldly, and help carry my comfort into places where silent pain has lived too long. My child, there are wounds inside your heart that did not begin with one single moment. They form slowly over time through disappointment, neglect, rejection, and emotional distance. Some parts of you learned very early that being vulnerable felt unsafe. So you adapted. You became careful with your emotions. You learned how to hide pain behind humor, busyness, or silence. You taught yourself how to survive without expecting tenderness, because too many times your heart reached outward and returned carrying hurt instead of comfort. I know why you struggle to trust love fully now. Deep down, part of you still fears abandonment. Part of you expects people to leave once they see your weaknesses too clearly. Even when someone cares about you sincerely, your mind sometimes waits for disappointment like thunderclouds gathering before another storm. You have become so familiar with emotional self-protection that receiving genuine care can feel uncomfortable, almost unfamiliar. Come sit with me honestly and stop pretending these wounds no longer affect you. They shape the way you speak to yourself. They influence the way you handle relationships. They even affect how you approach me at times. You hesitate to believe you are fully loved because your experiences taught you to expect conditions attached to affection. But I never wanted your heart living trapped inside survival mode forever. You were not created merely to endure life emotionally guarded and constantly bracing for pain. I want to heal the frightened places inside you that still expect rejection before connection. I want to restore softness where disappointment made you emotionally hard. Let me into those hidden rooms of your heart that you keep locked away from everyone else. Stop telling yourself that you are too much to be loved deeply. Stop assuming your scars make you difficult to care for. I know there were moments when people failed you badly. Some gave affection inconsistently, leaving your heart confused and insecure. Some only valued you when you were useful to them. Others withdrew love the moment you became emotionally honest about your struggles. Those experiences wounded your spirit more deeply than you admitted. But listen carefully now. Human inconsistency does not define your worthiness of love. The time is now for you to stop surviving emotionally while secretly starving for connection underneath. Bring your guarded heart to me without shame. Let me teach you what safe love feels like again. You do not need to keep performing for acceptance. You do not need to constantly prove your value through exhaustion, perfection, or emotional sacrifice. Sit with me quietly and let my presence begin restoring what fear has hardened inside you. Healing will not happen all at once, but it will begin the moment you stop running from the parts of yourself that still need love the most. You are not too damaged for tenderness, my child. You are deeply loved even in the places where you still feel broken. My child, I know there are moments when you look around and quietly feel like everyone else is moving forward while you remain stuck in the same place. You see people building families, advancing in careers, finding opportunities, healing faster, or stepping into dreams you once hoped would happen for you too. Without realizing it, you begin measuring your worth against timelines that were never designed for your life. Comparison has exhausted your spirit more than you admit. It steals peace quietly, like a slow leak draining water from a deep well little by little until emptiness settles in. Come closer and let me speak honestly to your heart now. You are not behind. Your journey was never meant to unfold exactly like someone else's path. Yet you keep punishing yourself emotionally because your life does not look the way you imagined by now. You replay thoughts like, I should be farther ahead, or I wasted too much time, and those thoughts slowly plant discouragement deep inside your spirit. But listen carefully to me. Delay is not always failure. Sometimes slower seasons protect growth that rushed timing would destroy. I know waiting hath been difficult for you. You have prayed for clarity, direction, stability, and breakthrough while watching other people celebrate things you still long for privately. That can wound the heart if you are not careful. Envy begins whispering that you have been overlooked. Shame begins convincing you that you somehow missed your chance. But I need you to stop looking at your life through the lens of panic and scarcity. Your story is not finished simply because it unfolded differently than expected. Sit with me for a moment and remember how much has already changed inside you. You are stronger emotionally than you used to be. You recognize unhealthy patterns faster now. You carry deeper wisdom because of what you survived. That growth matters, even when it does not look impressive to the world around you. Stop reducing your progress to visible achievements alone. There are seasons where roots grow deeper underground before anything visible rises above the surface. A tree planted beside living water does not panic because another tree blooms earlier. It keeps growing steadily in the direction it was created to grow. I want you to stop rushing your healing, your purpose, and your future because fear convinced you that time is running out. Come walk beside me instead of racing anxiously against everyone around you. The time is now for you to release the pressure of constantly comparing your life to someone else's timeline. Protect your peace from that trap. Gratitude and comparison cannot grow strongly in the same heart at the same time. Shift your focus. Look at how faithfully I have carried you instead of obsessing over what has not happened yet. Your life is not late, forgotten, or ruined. I am still writing your story carefully, even in seasons where progress feels slow. My child, there are things I want to place into your life, but your hands have been so tightly wrapped around old wounds that you have struggled to receive what is waiting ahead. I know pain changes people. I know disappointment leaves scars that do not disappear overnight. But I need you to understand something important now. You cannot fully embrace new beginnings while remaining emotionally chained to what hurt you yesterday. Every time you revisit old resentment without healing, you unknowingly make room for bitterness to keep growing inside your spirit. Come sit with me honestly and look at what you are still carrying. Some of it is anger toward people who wounded you deeply. Some of it is grief from dreams that collapsed unexpectedly. Some of it is disappointment with yourself for mistakes you wish you could undo. You have become so accustomed to carrying emotional weight that part of you no longer remembers what freedom feels like. Yet I did not create you to live burdened by unresolved pain forever. I know letting go feels frightening sometimes because pain can strangely become familiar. Even suffering becomes comfortable when you have carried it long enough. There are moments when you hold on to hurt because it feels connected to your identity now. But my child, wounds are not meant to become permanent homes for your heart. Healing requires movement. It requires trust. It requires your willingness to loosen your grip little by little and invite me into places where resentment has quietly taken root. Stop feeding old injuries with constant attention. Stop replaying conversations that only reopen scars. Stop building emotional walls so high that peace struggles to enter your heart anymore. I know some people never apologized. I know some situations still feel unfair. But carrying bitterness will not heal what happened to you. It will only keep your spirit trapped in yesterday's pain while tomorrow waits outside the door. Bring your hurt to me honestly instead of carrying it in silence. Cry if you need to. Grieve what was lost properly. Speak the truth about what wounded you. But after you bring it into the light, stop returning to it like an open grave you visit every day. Healing cannot grow where pain is constantly being resurrected. The time is now for you to release what keeps poisoning your peace. Open your hands. Let me remove what no longer belongs in your spirit. There is purpose ahead of you that requires emotional freedom, clearer vision, and a softer heart than bitterness will allow. You do not have to force yourself to heal overnight, but you must stop protecting the very pain I am trying to free you from. Walk with me now. Let me teach you how to carry wisdom from your wounds without carrying chains from them too. My child, I know you have been feeling restless lately in ways you cannot fully explain. Things that once distracted you no longer satisfy you the same way. Places that once felt comfortable now leave your spirit feeling strangely empty. You try to settle into routines that used to calm you, yet something inside keeps whispering that you cannot remain where you are forever. At times this unsettled feeling has frightened you because you thought peace was disappearing from your life. But come closer and listen carefully now. Not all restlessness comes from confusion. Sometimes it comes because your spirit already senses that change is approaching. You have outgrown certain environments emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. The problem is that part of you still clings to familiarity because uncertainty feels intimidating. Human hearts often prefer predictable discomfort over unfamiliar freedom. That is why you keep trying to force yourself to stay comfortable in seasons I am quietly asking you to leave behind. But your soul knows what your fear keeps resisting. You cannot keep shrinking yourself to fit places where growth has already begun pulling you beyond old limits. I know transition feels uncomfortable. You worry about what will happen if you finally let go of what feels safe. You wonder whether you are strong enough for what comes next. You question whether you are truly hearing my guidance or simply reacting emotionally. But I need you to stop dismissing the stirring inside your spirit. Sit with me honestly instead of trying to numb the discomfort away. Invite me into your confusion. Bring me your uncertainty instead of hiding behind distractions and temporary comforts that leave you emptier afterward. There are conversations you need to stop avoiding. There are habits draining your peace that you already recognize clearly. There are places you keep revisiting emotionally even though they continue pulling your spirit backward. Do not ignore what your heart already knows. Restlessness can become a compass when you allow me to guide it instead of fearing it. The time is now for you to stop forcing yourself to remain emotionally parked in places where your soul can no longer breathe freely. Open your hands. Release the need to control every outcome before you move forward. Trust me enough to believe that if I am stirring your spirit this deeply, I am also preparing what comes next. Take a slow breath now and stop panicking over transition. Caterpillars cannot remain inside closed spaces forever when transformation has already begun. Something new is unfolding within you, even if you cannot fully see it yet. Do not run back toward old versions of yourself simply because growth feels unfamiliar. Walk with me through this transition instead of resisting it. I will not lead you into a new season without also providing the grace needed to survive it. My child, the restlessness you feel is not accidental. It is the sound of movement before transformation, and I am calling many people through this message into a brand new season. But there are still countless souls standing at the edge of despair, waiting for one final confirmation that I have not abandoned them. When you support this mission through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, you become part of the river carrying my hope into dry lands ready for renewal. Every gift released in faith becomes oil for the lamp, fire for the altar, and seed for a harvest far bigger than you can currently see. Did I not say that whoever sows generously will also reap generously? I am declaring multiplication, open doors, and supernatural favor over those who choose obedience in this moment. Do not underestimate what I can do through one surrendered act of generosity placed into my hands. This is a divine transition season, and your support helps prepare hearts for the new thing I am unfolding across lives hungry for truth. The time is now. Obey the stirring within you. Give today, and help carry my word into the next season I am opening before my people. My child, there are places in your life where comfort quietly became a cage without you even realizing it. You settled into routines, relationships, and thought patterns that felt familiar enough to avoid risk, but deep inside your spirit knew you were no longer growing there. You kept telling yourself that staying comfortable meant staying safe, yet your soul has been carrying a quiet ache for something deeper, fuller, and more alive. I placed dreams inside you that cannot fully awaken while fear keeps convincing you to remain hidden inside what feels predictable. Come closer and let me speak honestly with you now. Comfort is not always peace. Sometimes comfort is simply avoidance wearing softer clothes. You avoid difficult conversations because conflict scares you. You delay necessary changes because uncertainty feels overwhelming. You stay connected to environments that drain you because loneliness feels intimidating. Little by little, Fear disguises itself as practicality until you begin calling emotional stagnation stability. But look carefully at what staying comfortable has cost you. Your confidence weakened every time you ignored the voice inside urging you to grow. Your spirit became tired because deep down you knew you were capable of more than survival alone. You were not created merely to exist inside safe boundaries while your purpose waits outside the door. Eagles were not designed to spend life hiding beneath low ceilings. There is more within you than the fear surrounding you keeps allowing you to believe. I know stepping beyond comfort feels risky. Growth stretches people. Healing stretches people. Obedience stretches people. There will be moments where you feel uncertain, exposed, and emotionally vulnerable. But stop waiting for courage to feel comfortable before you move forward. Courage often appears while your knees are still trembling. Invite me into your fear instead of allowing fear to make decisions for your future. There are talents inside you that comfort has kept buried. There are conversations you need to have. There are boundaries you need to establish. There are dreams you quietly abandoned because failure looked too frightening. Bring those hidden desires back into the light with me now. Stop assuming your life has already reached its highest point. I am still unfolding purpose within you. The time is now for you to stop calling smallness humility. I did not create you to live emotionally caged by fear of discomfort. Stretch your faith. Stretch your thinking. Step toward the opportunities I place before you instead of immediately retreating into familiar patterns every time anxiety rises. Come walk with me beyond what feels safe. Growth may feel uncomfortable at first, but remaining trapped in fear will cost far more in the long run. Your future cannot fully open while comfort continues making your decisions for you. My child, I know how often you carry the invisible pressure of trying to keep everyone around you happy. You think carefully before speaking because you fear upsetting people. You overextend yourself emotionally because saying no makes you feel guilty. You keep sacrificing your own peace to avoid conflict, rejection, or disappointment from others. Somewhere along the way, you began believing that your value depended on how useful, agreeable, and emotionally available you remained for everyone else. That burden has slowly drained the life out of your spirit. Come closer and listen carefully now because I need you to stop building your identity around people's expectations. You were not created to spend your entire life emotionally exhausted from trying to maintain approval. I know your heart is compassionate. I know you genuinely care about others. But caring deeply does not mean abandoning yourself completely in the process. There is a difference between love and self-erasure, and too often you have confused the two. I watched you stay silent in situations where your heart desperately needed honesty. I saw you tolerate disrespect because you feared losing connection. I saw you carry responsibilities that never belonged to you because you worried people would think less of you if you stepped back. Meanwhile, your own soul became tired, neglected, and emotionally starved. You kept pouring into everyone else while quietly hoping someone would notice how empty you had become too. Stop doing that to yourself, my child. Sit with me honestly and ask yourself how many decisions you made out of fear instead of peace. How often did you betray your own emotional needs just to avoid disappointing someone else? How many times did you ignore your own exhaustion because guilt convinced you rest was selfish? That way of living cannot continue into the future I have prepared for you. Constant people-pleasing will eventually leave your spirit brittle like dry branches cracking under too much weight. I am asking you now to stop apologizing for having boundaries. Protect your peace without shame. Speak truthfully instead of burying resentment beneath forced politeness. Walk away from relationships where your kindness is constantly exploited but rarely appreciated. Invite me into your fear of rejection so I can heal the parts of you that believe love must always be earned through sacrifice. The time is now for you to stop carrying emotional responsibility for everyone else's happiness. You are not failing people simply because you finally choose honesty, balance, and rest. Healthy love does not require you to disappear in order for others to feel comfortable. Come sit beside me for a while and let your soul breathe again. You do not need to keep living like a tightly stretched rope ready to snap under endless pressure. I never asked you to carry the world on your shoulders. Let me teach you how to love others without abandoning yourself in the process. My child, I need you to slow down and truly notice what your soul has been trying to tell you lately. You have become so accustomed to surviving in a constant state of exhaustion that you barely recognize how drained you really are anymore. Your body keeps moving, your responsibilities continue, and your mind rarely stops racing long enough for you to process what is happening inside you. Yet beneath all of that activity, your spirit has been quietly crying out for rest, connection, and healing. You keep trying to push through everything as though endless pressure is normal. It is not. I never created you to live emotionally numb while pretending you are functioning well. I never intended for anxiety to become your constant companion or for fear to quietly shape every decision you make. But the longer you ignore your inner life, the more disconnected you become from peace. Your soul cannot thrive while constantly starved of stillness, honesty, and my presence. Come closer now and stop distracting yourself for a moment. Put down the endless noise. Turn away from the constant stream of comparison, pressure, and emotional overload that keeps clouding your heart. Sit with me quietly instead of immediately reaching for something to numb what you feel. I know silence feels uncomfortable for you sometimes because buried emotions rise quickly when distractions fade. But healing cannot fully begin while you keep running from your own heart. I see how tired you are. I see the heaviness behind your smile. I see how often you carry worry quietly without telling anyone how overwhelmed you truly feel. There are moments when your spirit feels like a flickering candle struggling against heavy winds, and still you keep forcing yourself forward without allowing restoration to enter your life. That is not strength, my child. That is survival without rest. I want something better for you than constant emotional burnout. I want you to experience peace that does not disappear the moment life becomes difficult. I want your spirit rooted deeply enough that fear no longer controls every corner of your thoughts. But for that to happen, you must stop neglecting your relationship with me while expecting your soul to remain healthy. The time is now for you to reconnect with what truly gives life to your spirit. Spend time with me intentionally again. Open your heart honestly instead of praying through memorized words while your mind stays emotionally distant. Let yourself rest without guilt. Step outside the endless cycle of pressure long enough to hear my voice clearly again. Come walk with me slowly now. You do not need to keep living like a machine running on empty. Your soul needs care, not constant strain. Let me restore what exhaustion has slowly been stealing from you for far too long. My child, I know how uncomfortable silence has become for you. The moment life slows down, your thoughts grow louder. Old fears begin resurfacing. Questions you avoided during busy days suddenly rise to the surface at night. That is why you keep filling every quiet moment with noise, distractions, endless scrolling, conversations, work, or worry. Stillness feels dangerous because silence forces you to face parts of yourself you have spent years trying not to feel too deeply. But come closer and listen carefully now. Not every silent season is punishment. Some silence is sacred. Some silence is where healing begins breathing again after years of emotional suffocation. I know you have mistaken quiet seasons for abandonment at times. You prayed and expected immediate answers, visible signs, or dramatic breakthroughs. When none arrived quickly, discouragement settled over your spirit like heavy winter fog covering everything in sight. Yet even while you thought nothing was happening, transformation was quietly unfolding beneath the surface. Seeds grow underground long before fruit appears above the soil. I need you to stop fearing the quiet places where I am trying to speak to your heart more deeply. Sit with me there instead of running from yourself. Turn off the constant noise for a while and pay attention to what your spirit has been carrying silently. There are wounds inside you that surfaced during these quiet seasons because they could no longer remain hidden. There are fears I am exposing because they have controlled too many decisions in your life already. Silence is not always empty, my child. Sometimes silence becomes the room where truth finally has space to breathe. I know waiting has frustrated you. You wanted movement. You wanted answers. You wanted certainty as clear as lightning splitting the night sky. But not all growth arrives dramatically. Rivers shape stone slowly through steady persistence, not through frantic force. In the same way, I have been reshaping your heart quietly through patience, reflection, and surrender. You are changing more than you realize. Stop assuming nothing meaningful is happening simply because everything feels slower right now. Some of the deepest work I do inside people happens away from applause, visibility, and immediate results. Do not abandon the process simply because it lacks noise. The time is now for you to stop fighting every quiet season as though silence itself is your enemy. Bring your restless heart into my presence instead. Sit with me without demanding instant clarity. Listen before speaking. Rest before rushing ahead. Allow your soul to become still long enough to recognize that I have remained with you through every unanswered question and uncertain moment. Come closer now and stay here for a while. The silence you fear may become the very place where your healing finally begins to bloom. My child, even in this quiet moment, I am still moving through hearts across the world through this message you are hearing now. The silence that once frightened you is becoming holy ground where my voice reaches wounded souls searching for hope in the darkness. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are helping carry living water into dry places where weary hearts are crying out for peace. Have I not said, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy? Even now, I am causing seeds planted in faith to rise beneath the surface like hidden roots preparing for harvest. Do not call your generosity small, because a single flame can awaken light in countless homes drowning in spiritual night. I see every act of obedience, and I will breathe favor, protection, and fresh oil upon those who pour back into what is feeding souls. The time is now. Do not delay what I am placing on your heart. So boldly, support this work today, and let my word continue reaching the ones waiting silently for hope. My child, there are moments when you look back over your life and wonder why certain prayers seemed unanswered for so long. You asked for opportunities that never came. You begged for relationships to work out that eventually fell apart. You prayed for doors to open, and instead you faced delays, detours, and disappointment after disappointment. At times you quietly questioned whether I was ignoring you while blessing everyone else around you. The pain sat heavy on your heart because waiting without understanding can feel unbearably lonely. But come closer now and let me show you something your frustration could not fully see at the time. Some delays were not rejection. They were protection. You were asking for things before your heart was ready to carry them safely. There were blessings connected to responsibilities that would have overwhelmed you in the condition you were in emotionally. There were relationships you desired that would have deepened your wounds instead of healing them. There were doors that looked beautiful from a distance, but hid storms behind them fierce enough to damage your peace for years. I know disappointment convinced you that you were forgotten. I know waiting made you question your value. But stop assuming delay means absence. A farmer does not throw seeds carelessly onto frozen ground and expect healthy growth overnight. Timing matters. Preparation matters. Hidden roots matter. In the same way, I have been preparing both you and your future carefully, even during seasons where everything appeared still from your perspective. Look honestly at how much you have changed through these difficult years. Your discernment is sharper now. Your understanding of yourself is deeper. Your heart has matured through pain in ways comfort never could have produced. If certain prayers had been answered too early, you might have stepped into blessings carrying the same fears, insecurities, and unhealthy patterns that once controlled you. What you called delaying, I often called mercy. Stop grieving timing that protected you from unnecessary destruction. Stop comparing your process to people whose journeys were never meant to mirror yours. Invite me into your disappointment instead of allowing bitterness to harden your spirit slowly over time. Tell me honestly where you still feel confused. Bring me the dreams that still ache inside your chest. I am not offended by your questions, my child. I simply do not want your pain turning into hopelessness. The time is now for you to trust that I see farther ahead than your current emotions can see. Release the need to understand every delay immediately. Some answers only become clear when you finally arrive at the place I was guiding you toward all along. Walk beside me now without resentment weighing down your spirit. What I protected you from matters just as much as what I eventually bring into your life. My child, I need you to be honest with yourself about something you already feel deep inside. There are environments, habits, and relationships you keep returning to even though they leave your spirit exhausted every single time. You already recognize the heaviness they create within you. You notice how your peace disappears afterward. You feel the emotional tension settling into your chest again, yet part of you keeps going back because familiarity can feel safer than change. But come closer now and listen carefully, because I cannot lead you into healing while you continue revisiting the very things that keep reopening your wounds. You have spent too much time tolerating what quietly destroys your peace. Sometimes you stay because you hope people will change. Sometimes you stay because loneliness scares you more than dysfunction. Sometimes you stay because deep down you question whether you deserve better. But I need you to stop confusing attachment with assignment. Not everything familiar is healthy for your future. There are places where your soul slowly shrinks just to survive emotionally, and that is not the life I want for you. I know walking away is difficult. Separation often hurts before healing begins. You become emotionally attached even to unhealthy patterns because they feel predictable. But predictability is not the same as peace. You keep reopening doors that leave your spirit bruised, then wonder why your heart struggles to heal fully afterward. Stop doing that to yourself, my child. Sit quietly with me now and pay attention to what consistently drains your soul. Notice which conversations leave you anxious. Notice which environments awaken insecurity, bitterness, temptation, or emotional confusion inside you. Notice where your peace disappears. Your spirit hath been warning you for a long time already, but you kept silencing discernment because change felt uncomfortable. I'm asking you now to choose your peace more intentionally. Walk away from what repeatedly harms your inner life. Set boundaries without apologizing for protecting your healing. Stop giving unlimited access to people who consistently mishandle your heart. Invite me into the difficult decisions you keep delaying because fear of loss has been controlling you. The time is now for you to stop calling emotional survival love or loyalty. Real love does not constantly destroy your peace. Healthy connection does not leave you emotionally shattered every time you interact with it. You cannot keep drinking from poisoned wells and expect your spirit to remain healthy. Come walk with me away from what keeps draining your life slowly. I know release feels painful sometimes, but freedom often begins with separation. Trust me enough to believe that losing what harms you is not the same as losing what you truly need. There is peace waiting beyond the places you are afraid to leave behind. My child, you have become so skilled at hiding your pain that even the people closest to you often cannot tell how deeply exhausted you really are. You smile when your heart feels heavy. You tell people you are okay while carrying silent battles nobody sees. You keep functioning, working, helping others, and moving through responsibilities while quietly falling apart inside. Somewhere along the way, you learned that vulnerability felt dangerous, so you built emotional walls and called it strength. But come closer now and hear me clearly. Healing cannot fully begin while you continue pretending there is nothing wrong. You cannot restore what you refuse to acknowledge honestly. I know why you hide. Part of you fears becoming a burden. Part of you worries that if people truly saw your struggles, they might pull away. But constantly suppressing your emotions is slowly exhausting your spirit more than you realize. I never asked you to carry pain silently just to appear strong. Sit with me honestly now instead of rushing to cover your wounds with distractions, busyness, or forced positivity. Bring your sadness into the light. Bring your anger, your confusion, your disappointment, and your weariness too. Stop judging yourself for feeling overwhelmed after everything you have survived. Your emotions are not signs of failure. They are signals from your heart asking for attention and care. I know there are tears you swallowed because you thought nobody would understand. I know there are memories you avoid because they still hurt too deeply to revisit. I know there are moments when you feel emotionally numb because carrying constant pressure for too long can make the heart feel tired beyond words. But hiding your pain does not heal it, my child. It only buries it deeper where it quietly shapes your thoughts, your relationships, and your sense of worth. Invite me into those hidden places now. Stop trying to clean yourself up emotionally before coming into my presence. Come exactly as you are. Speak honestly with me instead of offering polished prayers while your heart remains guarded. Let yourself rest from pretending for a while. The time is now for you to stop surviving behind emotional masks. You do not need to impress me with constant strength. I already know where you are hurting, and I am not turning away from you because of it. Healing grows where honesty finally enters the room. Take a deep breath and release the pressure of trying to appear unshaken all the time. You are human, not unbreakable stone. Let me hold the parts of your heart that became too tired to carry themselves alone. My child, I know there are days when you become discouraged because your growth feels slower than you expected. You look at your life and wonder why healing still feels incomplete. You question why certain struggles continue returning even after you prayed, reflected, and tried so hard to move forward. At times you become frustrated with yourself because you thought you would be farther along emotionally, spiritually, or mentally by now. But come closer and listen carefully because I need you to stop measuring transformation only by dramatic moments. Some of the deepest changes happening inside you are quiet enough that you barely notice them while they are unfolding. You are too focused on what still hurts to recognize how much has already changed. There are reactions you no longer have. There are situations that once controlled your emotions but no longer hold the same power over you. There are patterns you now recognize earlier because wisdom has been growing slowly within you. Healing rarely moves in straight lines. Some days feel strong. Some days feel heavy again. That does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. I know you become impatient with yourself. You want certainty that all your effort, prayers, and endurance are leading somewhere meaningful. But stop speaking over your life as though nothing is happening simply because progress feels gradual. Rivers carve through stone slowly over time, yet eventually even the hardest surfaces begin to change shape beneath steady pressure. In the same way, your spirit is being reshaped through consistent surrender, quiet endurance, and daily choices you barely recognize as growth yet. Sit with me for a moment and stop demanding instant perfection from yourself. Invite me into the frustration you keep carrying privately. Tell me honestly where you still feel weak. Speak openly about the fears that continue resurfacing. Healing becomes heavier when you keep expecting yourself to become fully restored overnight. Growth requires patience, my child. Seeds do not bloom the day they are planted, yet life is still forming beneath the surface long before visible fruit appears. The time is now for you to stop calling yourself stuck simply because transformation is unfolding slower than you hoped. Be gentle with yourself during this process. Continue showing up. Continue praying. Continue choosing peace over bitterness little by little. Small steps matter more than dramatic bursts followed by emotional collapse. Come walk with me steadily instead of constantly looking backward in frustration. Your journey is still moving forward even during seasons where progress feels painfully quiet. Trust the process I am leading you through. You are growing stronger in ways you cannot fully measure yet. Do not give up on yourself simply because healing arrived gradually instead of instantly. I am still working within you every single day. My child, just as healing grows slowly beneath the surface, so does every seed sown into my kingdom carry unseen power before the harvest appears. Do not underestimate what happens when you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link waiting for you in the description below. Every gift becomes like bread multiplied in my hands, feeding weary spirits who are close to giving up but still searching for one more sign that I have not forgotten them. I told you in my word that in due season you shall reap if you do not faint, and I am speaking those living words over you even now. Some of the greatest movements of light begin through quiet obedience that the world barely notices at first. Your generosity becomes oil for the lamp, keeping this message burning brightly for those walking through emotional darkness. I will honor every heart that gives with sincerity, and I will cause peace, provision, and strength to flow back into your life in ways you cannot yet measure. The time is now. Keep the river flowing. Support this mission today and help my voice reach the hearts that are still waiting for healing. My child, I know your mind has carried heavy fear about the future lately. You think about tomorrow and immediately imagine worst-case scenarios. You wonder what will happen if things fall apart, if opportunities disappear, if people leave, or if you fail in ways you cannot recover from. Fear has a way of painting the future in dark colors until hope begins fading quietly from the heart. I see how anxiety exhausts you mentally. I see how overthinking steals peace from moments that were never meant to carry so much dread. But come closer now and let me speak gently into the fear you keep feeding with endless attention. Your future is not doomed simply because your mind feels afraid. Fear is not prophecy. Anxiety is not wisdom. Just because your thoughts replay painful possibilities does not mean those possibilities are destined to happen. You have spent too much time allowing imagined disasters to shape your emotional reality before life even unfolds. I know why fear feels convincing to you. Pain from the past trained your mind to stay alert for danger. Unexpected heartbreaks made you cautious. Disappointment taught you to protect yourself emotionally by preparing for the worst. But living constantly braced for disaster is draining your spirit. You cannot enjoy the present while your mind remains trapped inside fears about futures that have not even arrived. Sit quietly with me now and breathe slowly. Stop rehearsing tragedies in your mind for a moment. Invite me into the anxious thoughts you keep carrying silently. Tell me honestly what scares you most instead of pretending you are unaffected. I am not disappointed by your fear, my child. I simply do not want fear becoming the voice that guides your decisions. You keep imagining closed doors while forgetting how many times I already carried you through situations you once believed would destroy you completely. Think about everything you survived already. There were seasons you thought you would never recover from emotionally, yet you are still here growing, healing, learning, and searching for peace again. That same grace has not disappeared from your life now. The time is now for you to stop surrendering your peace to imagined futures built entirely from fear. Guard your mind more carefully. Stop feeding anxiety through endless overthinking and emotional catastrophizing. Turn your attention toward my presence instead of constantly searching for signs that disaster is approaching. Come walk beside me one day at a time. You do not need to carry tomorrow before it arrives. Let me guide your steps gradually instead of demanding certainty about every future detail all at once. Your story still contains hope, beauty, healing, and purpose ahead of you, even if fear struggles to believe it right now. Trust me enough to loosen your grip on the darkness your mind keeps trying to create. I am already waiting for you in the future you are afraid of, and I will not abandon you there either. My child, I know there are times when you hold yourself back because you feel unfinished. You look at your flaws, your struggles, your inconsistencies, and your past mistakes, then quietly convince yourself that you are not ready for purpose, peace, or meaningful change yet. You keep thinking that one day, after you become stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more healed, or less broken, then maybe you will finally deserve to move forward confidently. But come closer now and listen carefully, because I need you to stop delaying your life while waiting to become flawless. I never asked you to become perfect before walking with me. You have spent too much time disqualifying yourself over things I already understand about you completely. I know where you struggle. I know the habits you are still fighting. I know the fears you try to hide behind forced confidence. None of those things surprise me. Yet despite everything you think makes you unworthy, I still continue calling you forward. Stop acting as though your imperfections have more power than my ability to guide, restore, and grow you over time. Look honestly at your life for a moment. Some of the people who impacted you most deeply were not perfect either. They were simply willing to keep walking, learning, repenting, growing, and trusting despite their weakness. Perfection is not what makes someone usable. Humility, honesty, and willingness matter far more than flawless performance ever could. I know shame still follows you sometimes like a shadow stretching behind your footsteps. You replay old failures and wonder whether they permanently damaged your future. But stop building emotional prisons from chapters I already offered forgiveness for. Your mistakes may have shaped parts of your story, but they are not the final voice speaking over your destiny. Bring your imperfections into my presence instead of hiding from me because of them. Sit with me honestly now. Stop pretending to have everything together before you come closer. Speak openly about where you still struggle. Invite me into the places where insecurity keeps whispering that you are too damaged, too inconsistent, or too late. Those lies have kept you standing still long enough already. The time is now for you to stop postponing obedience while waiting for perfection to arrive someday. Growth happens while walking with me, not before you begin the journey. Healing unfolds step by step, not all at once in a single dramatic moment. I can work with a willing heart far more easily than a polished image built entirely from fear and self-protection. Come take my hand now exactly as you are. You do not need to clean yourself up emotionally before approaching me. Let me shape your life gradually. Let me strengthen the weak places over time. Stop disqualifying yourself from a future I am still actively preparing for you. You are not too flawed to be loved, guided, or used for something meaningful. My child, something has been changing inside you lately, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. The fight to control everything has started exhausting you in ways it never did before. You are beginning to realize that carrying constant pressure, overthinking every outcome, and trying to force life into your preferred timing has not brought the peace you hoped it would. Deep down, your spirit is growing tired of living tightly clenched around fear, uncertainty, and the endless need to manage everything yourself. Come closer now and let me speak gently into this turning point inside your heart. Surrender is not weakness. It is not giving up on life or becoming passive. Surrender is the moment you stop fighting battles that were never meant to be carried by your strength alone. It is the quiet to see and to trust me even when every answer has not fully appeared yet. That kind of trust frightens you sometimes because control feels safer than vulnerability. But control has been draining your spirit slowly for years. I know why you struggle to release it. Life hurt you unexpectedly before. Things changed you without warning. People disappointed you. Dreams collapsed when you least expected it. Those experiences taught you to stay alert constantly, as though enough preparation could somehow prevent pain from touching your life again. But living emotionally guarded all the time is exhausting your soul. You cannot rest while trying to control every possible outcome before it happens. Sit with me honestly for a moment and notice how heavy your heart has become from carrying responsibilities, worries, and imagined scenarios all at once. You were never designed to hold the weight of tomorrow by yourself. Lay it down now. Release the endless mental rehearsing. Release the pressure to figure everything out immediately. Invite me into the uncertainty instead of trying to conquer it alone. There are things unfolding in your life right now that cannot be forced through anxiety, fear, or over-control. Some doors will only open through trust. Some healing will only happen when you stop resisting the process every step of the way. Surrender creates space for peace to enter where fear once ruled constantly. The time is now for you to stop gripping life so tightly that your spirit cannot breathe. Open your hands emotionally. Trust me with the unanswered questions. Trust me with the relationships, decisions, and future you keep trying to manage perfectly. You do not need complete certainty before taking the next faithful step beside me. Come walk with me gently now. Let surrender become relief instead of something you fear. I am not asking you to stop caring about your life. I am asking you to stop carrying it alone. My child, I need you to understand something with compassion instead of shame. Some of the struggles in your life became heavier because you kept trying to fight them while your spirit was already exhausted. You pushed yourself beyond healthy limits emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, then wondered why discouragement kept growing stronger inside you. You kept showing up for responsibilities while quietly neglecting your own soul. Little by little, exhaustion clouded your discernment, weakened your peace, and made every challenge feel larger than it truly was. Come closer now and stop judging yourself harshly for feeling worn down. Even strong hearts grow tired when they carry pressure without rest for too long. I saw you trying to hold yourself together during seasons where your spirit desperately needed restoration. You kept telling yourself to push through while your inner life slowly became dry and fragile like cracked ground beneath relentless heat. You prayed quickly but rarely rested deeply. You sought answers constantly but avoided stillness because silence forced you to feel how tired you had truly become. I never intended for you to fight life disconnected from my presence. Sit with me honestly now and notice how many battles intensified after fear, stress, and emotional exhaustion took control of your thoughts. When your spirit grows depleted, even small problems begin feeling impossible. Anxiety becomes louder. Temptation becomes heavier. Hope becomes harder to hold on to. That is why I have been calling you back toward rest repeatedly. Not because rest makes you weak, but because rest restores your ability to hear me clearly again. You keep trying to solve spiritual exhaustion with more striving, more overthinking, and more pressure. But healing cannot grow in a soul constantly running on empty. Stop treating yourself like a machine built only to perform endlessly. Come away from the noise for a while. Sit quietly with me again. Breathe deeply without rushing toward the next responsibility immediately. Let your heart become still enough to receive peace instead of constantly operating from survival mode. There are battles you were never supposed to carry through sheer willpower alone. Some victories only come when surrender replaces striving. Invite me back into the center of your life instead of keeping me at the edges while anxiety controls everything else. Open your spirit again. Pray honestly instead of mechanically. Rest without guilt. Trust that I can continue working even when you slowed down long enough to recover. The time is now for you to stop glorifying exhaustion as strength. Burnout is not proof of faithfulness. Constant emotional depletion is not the life I designed for you. Your soul needs restoration before it can carry certain blessings safely. Come walk beside me at a healthier pace now. Let me refill what stress, fear, and endless striving have drained from your spirit for far too long. My child, I did not call you to live spiritually exhausted while carrying burdens alone, and I am now raising up people who will help strengthen the work of bringing rest, healing, and truth to weary souls everywhere. When you give through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you become part of a river I am releasing into dry and broken places. Many are searching for peace while silently collapsing beneath invisible battles, and this message is becoming manna for hearts starving for hope. Have I not declared that those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed? I am watching every willing hand that chooses to sow into this assignment, and I will multiply back what is released in faith. Your support is not ordinary generosity. It is spiritual fuel helping my light continue reaching people standing at the edge of despair. The enemy wants weariness to silence this work, but I am calling my people to rise and strengthen the flow of my word across the earth. The time is now. Obey the stirring in your spirit. Give today, stand with this mission, and help carry my healing presence to those who need it most. My child, I know there are parts of your story you still struggle to look at without pain rising inside your chest. There are memories connected to deep wounds, betrayals, losses, failures, and seasons where you barely recognized yourself anymore. Sometimes when you look at those scars emotionally, you immediately see weakness, brokenness, or shame. You wonder whether certain experiences permanently damaged something inside you. But come closer now and let me show you your scars through a different lens. Those scars are not proof that you failed. They are proof that you survived. You walked through storms that could have hardened your heart completely, yet you still carry compassion within you. You endured disappointment that could have destroyed your ability to trust entirely, yet part of you still longs for connection, peace, and healing. That matters more than you realize. Scars tell stories of endurance. They remind you that even after unbearable nights, painful endings, and seasons of emotional collapse, you are still standing here breathing, learning, growing, and searching for hope again. I know there are scars you try to hide because they make you feel vulnerable. Some wounds change the way you see yourself. Some made you question your worth deeply. Some left you carrying insecurities you still battle quietly every day. But stop speaking about yourself as though your pain erased your value. Wounded people are not worthless people. Broken places can still hold beauty, wisdom, tenderness, and purpose. Sit with me honestly now, and stop treating your scars like permanent evidence of defeat. Invite me into those wounded memories instead of locking them away in shame. Healing begins when you stop hiding from your own story. I am not asking you to pretend the pain never happened. I am asking you to stop allowing the pain to become your entire identity. There are people in this world who will eventually find hope because you understand suffering personally. There is compassion growing inside you because of what you survived. Your scars may ache sometimes, but they also remind you how faithfully you were carried through moments that once seemed impossible to survive. Do not overlook that truth. The time is now for you to stop seeing yourself only through the lens of what hurt you. Lift your eyes higher. Notice the resilience that formed inside you quietly over time. Notice the wisdom your pain produced. Notice how much strength it took just to keep going when your heart felt exhausted and fragile. Come walk with me now without hiding your scars from me. I already know every wounded place within you, and I still call you deeply loved, valuable, and worthy of healing. Your scars are not the end of your story. They are reminders that even in your darkest seasons, destruction did not win. My child, there are opportunities approaching your life that will ask something different from you than what fear has allowed until now. I know part of you still wants guarantees before you move forward. You want certainty before you trust, reassurance before you act, and visible proof before you believe anything good can truly happen for you. But come closer and listen carefully, because the future opening before you cannot fully unfold while fear continues controlling your decisions from behind the scenes. You have spent too many years shrinking yourself emotionally because of what might go wrong. Fear taught you to hesitate even when your spirit sensed movement. It convinced you to question your gifts, delay your growth, and remain hidden inside comfort zones that slowly became prisons for your potential. I watched you silence dreams because failure looked too painful. I watched you doubt your own worth whenever opportunities appeared that stretched beyond what felt familiar. But your life was never meant to remain confined by fear's limitations. I know why fear became so strong inside you. Pain from the past left marks on your confidence. Rejection made you cautious. Betrayal made vulnerability feel dangerous. Delayed prayers made hope feel fragile. Yet despite everything that wounded you, I am still calling you forward. Stop assuming your past pain has authority over your future purpose. Sit quietly with me now and notice how often fear disguises itself as wisdom. Sometimes you call it being realistic when deep down it is simply self-protection. Sometimes you avoid opportunities because disappointment once hurt you deeply, not because the opportunity itself is wrong. I need you to recognize that difference. Discernment protects peace. Fear suffocates possibility. There are doors ahead that will require courage from you. Conversations that require honesty. Decisions that require trust. Relationships that require emotional openness again. Stop waiting until fear disappears completely before taking the next step. Courage grows while moving forward beside me, not while standing still demanding certainty. The time is now for you to stop surrendering your future to the voice of fear. Lift your eyes higher than worst-case scenarios. Invite me into your uncertainty instead of allowing anxiety to write the story before life even unfolds. You are more capable than fear has allowed you to believe. There is strength inside you that difficult seasons already helped develop quietly over time. Come walk with me toward what is ahead instead of constantly retreating toward what feels safe. Your future can't bloom while fear keeps convincing you to remain emotionally hidden. Open your heart again. Trust me with the risks connected to growth. Trust me enough to believe that what is waiting ahead may hold far more beauty than the pain you keep expecting. You were not created to spend your life watching opportunities pass by while fear whispers from the shadows. Step forward now. I am already walking beside you. My child, I know how badly you want relief from pain. You have spent so much of your life trying to protect yourself from being hurt again. Sometimes you avoid difficult conversations because conflict feels threatening. Sometimes you close your heart emotionally before anyone has the chance to disappoint you. Sometimes you distract yourself constantly because slowing down means feeling wounds you have tried to outrun for years. I understand why you became this way. Pain changes people. It teaches caution, self-protection, and emotional distance when the heart grows tired of being wounded. But come closer now and hear me carefully, because avoiding pain completely is not the same as healing from it. You keep trying to escape discomfort, yet some of the deepest transformation in your life can only happen when you stop running from what needs attention. Avoided pain does not disappear quietly. It hides beneath the surface, where it slowly shapes your fears, your relationships, your decisions, and even the way you see yourself. I know there are wounds you never fully processed because survival demanded immediate movement. You kept functioning while your heart remained bruised underneath. You buried grief because responsibilities kept calling your name. You buried disappointment because vulnerability felt unsafe. But hidden pain eventually asks to be acknowledged. That is why certain emotions keep resurfacing unexpectedly. Your spirit is asking for healing, not more avoidance. Sit with me honestly now and stop treating your emotions like enemies. Bring your grief into my presence. Bring your anger, your sadness, your confusion, and your exhaustion too. Let yourself feel without immediately condemning yourself for struggling. Healing requires honesty, my child. You cannot transform what you continue hiding behind emotional walls. I am not asking you to love pain or pretend suffering feels beautiful. I am asking you to trust that I can still create wisdom, compassion, resilience, and deeper purpose from what wounded you. Some of the gentlest parts of your heart were born from seasons that nearly broke you. Some of your greatest strength developed quietly through battles you never wanted to face. Pain may have touched your life, but it does not have to define the meaning of your story forever. The time is now for you to stop running from every uncomfortable emotion the moment it rises. Stay with me in the process instead of escaping it immediately. Healing often feels slower than avoidance, but it leads toward freedom instead of deeper bondage. Let me walk beside you through the difficult places instead of carrying them alone in silence. Come closer now and trust me with the wounds you still hide carefully from others. I can transform what hurt you without wasting a single part of your story. My child, I know there are memories you revisit that still make shame rise inside you immediately. There are decisions you regret deeply, words you wish you could take back, seasons where you lost yourself emotionally, and moments when you acted from pain instead of wisdom. Sometimes, when you think about those chapters, you begin seeing yourself through the lens of failure alone. You forget every good thing within you and reduce your entire identity to the moments you are least proud of. But come closer now and listen carefully, because I need you to stop introducing yourself to your own heart through shame. Your worst moments are not your full identity. I know mistakes have consequences. I know certain choices wounded you and perhaps wounded others too. But shame has stayed attached to you far longer than necessary. It keeps whispering that you are damaged beyond repair, disqualified from purpose, or permanently defined by your lowest seasons. That voice has exhausted your spirit. It keeps pulling you backward emotionally every time you begin moving toward healing or growth. Yet I never intended for you to spend your life chained to old versions of yourself that no longer reflect who you are becoming. Sit with me honestly now and stop hiding behind self-condemnation. Bring me the memories that still haunt you. Speak openly about the guilt you carry privately. You do not need to pretend those chapters never happened. Healing begins when truth is acknowledged honestly, not hidden behind denial. But after honesty comes something equally important: release. You cannot continue rebuilding your life while dragging shame behind you like heavy chains across broken ground. I need you to understand this deeply. A person can fail without becoming a failure forever. A wounded season does not erase the value of your entire existence. Some of your greatest wisdom grew from places where you once fell hardest. Some of your deepest compassion came from understanding pain personally. I can still shape beauty, strength, humility, and purpose from lives that once felt shattered. Stop speaking over yourself with hopelessness every time you remember your past. Stop reopening wounds I already invited you to heal from. You are not meant to stay emotionally trapped inside old chapters forever. Invite me into the places where shame still speaks loudly. Let my voice become stronger than the accusations inside your own mind. The time is now for you to stop punishing yourself endlessly for things I am already trying to help you heal from. Lift your eyes higher than your regrets. Walk forward with humility, yes, but also with hope. Growth does not happen by endlessly reliving old failures. Growth happens when you learn, heal, and continue walking beside me despite your imperfections. Come closer now and let me remind you who you are beyond your mistakes. You are still deeply loved. You are still worthy of healing. Your story did not end in the middle of your worst moment. My child, just as I am calling you to release shame and step into healing, I am also calling my people to help carry this message of restoration to countless others still trapped in darkness and regret. There are souls listening right now who believe their story ended in failure. Yet through this work I am reminding them that mercy still speaks louder than their past. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are helping break chains off hearts that have been imprisoned by guilt for far too long. Did I not say that I make beauty from ashes and bring light into the darkest valleys? Your generosity becomes like oil poured upon wounded spirits, helping hope rise again where despair once ruled. I see every seed released with faith, and I will cover those who give with favor, wisdom, and supernatural peace in the days ahead. This is not merely support for a channel. This is participation in a divine assignment, reaching lives eternity will remember. The time is now. Do not ignore the pull in your spirit. Sow into this mission today and help my healing voice reach the broken heart still waiting to be restored. My child, there is a reason these words feel heavier inside your spirit than ordinary conversations usually do. There is a reason certain sentences seem to reach beyond your thoughts and touch something deeper within you. You keep trying to explain it logically, but your heart recognizes something your mind keeps struggling to describe. I have been reaching for you quietly for a long time now. Through moments of stillness, through unexpected conviction, through exhaustion, through longing, through unanswered questions, and even through the emptiness you tried so hard to ignore, I have been drawing your attention back toward me again and again. Come closer now and stop brushing aside the stirring you feel inside your chest. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. There were moments when you sensed something pulling you toward change, but fear, distraction, and busyness kept interrupting the process. Still, I never stopped pursuing your heart. Even during seasons when you drifted emotionally distant, I remained near. Even while you questioned yourself, your future, and sometimes even your faith, my presence never abandoned you. I know you have felt lost at times. I know there were seasons when life became so heavy that you stopped expecting peace to feel real anymore. Yet even in those moments, something within you kept searching. That hunger inside your spirit was never accidental. Your soul was created for connection with me, and nothing else can fully satisfy the deeper ache within you no matter how many distractions temporarily silence it. Sit quietly with me now, and let your walls come down for a moment. Stop protecting your heart so fiercely that love struggles to enter. Bring me your honest thoughts instead of filtered versions you think sound more spiritual or composed. I already know where you are confused, tired, discouraged, fearful, or uncertain. You do not need polished words to come closer to me. I simply want your honesty. There are places inside your heart that no person fully understands. Hidden fears, white grief, longings you barely admit aloud. I have seen all of it from the beginning. That is why this moment feels personal to you now. I am speaking directly into areas where your soul has been quietly aching for guidance, comfort, and truth. The time is now for you to stop ignoring the invitations I have been placing in front of you repeatedly. Open your heart more fully instead of keeping one foot emotionally distant. Let yourself trust that I am not reaching toward you to condemn or shame you. I am reaching toward you because I love you deeply and refuse to abandon you to hopelessness. Come closer now. Stay here with me for a while. You do not have to carry every burden silently anymore. I have been calling your heart back toward peace all along. My child, the season ahead of you will not look exactly like the life you have grown used to. I know that realization stirs both excitement and fear inside your heart at the same time. Part of you longs for change because you are tired of feeling stuck, weary, and emotionally confined. Yet another part of you trembles at the thought of stepping into unfamiliar territory where control feels limited and certainty is incomplete. But come closer now and listen carefully because I need you to understand something deeply. The stretching you are about to experience is not meant to break you. It is meant to reveal how much stronger you have become than you realize. You have prayed for growth, clarity, healing, and purpose, but many of those things cannot fully develop while remaining inside emotional comfort zones. Growth requires movement. Healing requires trust. Purpose often unfolds in unfamiliar places, where your dependence on me grows deeper than your dependence on predictable routines. That is why I have been preparing your heart quietly through every difficult season behind you. Nothing was wasted. Every disappointment, delay, closed door, and quiet lesson shaped you for what comes next. I know transition scares you sometimes because past experiences taught you to expect pain whenever life begins changing suddenly. But stop assuming every new season carries the same heartbreak as old chapters. Not every unfamiliar path leads toward destruction. Some roads lead toward freedom, restoration, and peace your heart has never fully experienced before. I need you to stop approaching your future as though fear deserves the loudest voice in the room. Sit with me honestly now and release the need to understand every detail before taking the next step. You keep asking for complete clarity while I keep inviting you into deeper trust. I am not hiding from you, my child. I am teaching you how to walk closely beside me instead of relying only on visible certainty. There will be moments ahead where you feel stretched emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Yet in those moments, you will also begin noticing how faithfully I continue guiding you through every unfamiliar space. Do not retreat backward the moment discomfort appears. Stay with me through the stretching process. Bring me your fear instead of allowing fear to quietly control your choices. Open your heart to the possibility that the life ahead of you may hold more beauty than the life you keep trying to protect behind you. The time is now for you to stop resisting every transition simply because it requires courage. Your future cannot fully unfold while you remain emotionally anchored to what feels safe. Let me lead you forward gently. Trust the preparation I have already been doing within you. You are not stepping into the unknown alone. Come walk beside me now. The same hand that carried you through your darkest seasons will continue guiding you through every new beginning still waiting ahead. My child, there comes a moment when silence gives way to movement, when preparation begins turning into transition, and when the things happening beneath the surface finally start pushing upward into view. That moment is closer than you realize now. I know you have grown tired from waiting. I know disappointment made you cautious about hope because too many seasons felt delayed, uncertain, or painfully quiet. Yet I need you to hear me clearly now. I cannot hold back anymore because the shifting you have been praying for is already beginning to move into place around your life. You may not fully see it yet, but pieces are already aligning beyond your current understanding. Doors you thought were permanently closed are beginning to loosen quietly. Emotional healing you feared would never happen is already unfolding inside your spirit. Strength has been growing within you during moments when you thought you were only surviving. Even now, while fear still whispers doubts into your mind, your heart is beginning to awaken again little by little. Come closer and stop speaking hopelessness over your future. Stop assuming nothing is changing simply because transformation has not fully appeared in visible ways yet. Some breakthroughs begin internally long before circumstances catch up externally. Your thinking is changing. Your discernment is growing sharper. Your attachment to old pain is weakening. Those shifts matter deeply because outward change often begins with inward awakening first. I know part of you still hesitates to trust this fully. Disappointment taught you to guard your expectations carefully. You became afraid of hoping too deeply because previous heartbreaks wounded your confidence. But I am asking you now to open your heart again instead of remaining emotionally frozen in fear. Invite me into your uncertainty. Let hope breathe again where discouragement once settled heavily. There are opportunities, relationships, healing moments, and breakthroughs approaching your life that require a different version of you than the person fear tried to shape. That is why I have been preparing your spirit, quietly, for so long. You are not standing in the same emotional place you once were, even if you sometimes struggle to recognize your own growth. The time is now for you to stop waiting passively for life to begin changing someday far away in the future. Pay attention to the subtle shifts already happening around you. Listen closely to the stirring inside your spirit. Follow the invitations toward healing, honesty, obedience, and trust that I continue placing before you. Your breakthrough is not arriving because you suddenly became perfect. It is unfolding because your heart is finally becoming willing to walk beside me more openly than before. Come walk forward now without constantly looking backward in fear. The season you prayed for is closer than you think, and I am already preparing the way ahead of you. My child, after everything you have walked through, everything you have questioned, and every season that forced you to fight battles silently within your own heart, I need you to hear me clearly now. The time is now. Not someday when fear disappears completely. Not later when every answer finally makes sense. Not after you become flawless, stronger, or fully certain about every step ahead. The moment to begin walking differently is here now, in the middle of your unfinished healing, your lingering questions, and your growing trust in me. You have spent too many years standing at the edge of the life I prepared for you while hesitation kept pulling you backward. Fear convinced you to wait. Shame convinced you to hide. Exhaustion convinced you to settle for survival instead of peace. But something inside you has been awakening slowly through all these difficult seasons. You are beginning to realize that staying emotionally trapped in old patterns hurts more than the uncertainty of change itself. Your spirit is tired of shrinking. Your heart is tired of carrying chains that no longer belong in your future. Come closer now and let me speak gently into the deepest places within you. You were never created merely to survive life carrying constant fear, anxiety, bitterness, or emotional exhaustion. I created you for freedom. I created you for peace. I created you for deeper connection, honest healing, meaningful purpose, and a life rooted in trust instead of endless striving. That life will not appear overnight, but it begins the moment you stop resisting the invitations I have been placing before you all along. So open your hands now. Release the old identity built from pain, shame, disappointment, and fear. Stop introducing yourself through what wounded you. Stop assuming your future must mirror your past forever. Invite me fully into every part of your life instead of keeping certain wounds hidden behind emotional walls. Let me guide your decisions, your relationships, your healing, and your future with greater trust than before. There will still be moments where uncertainty rises. There will still be days when fear whispers old lies into your thoughts. But you do not have to keep obeying those voices anymore. Walk beside me instead. Return to me when your heart feels overwhelmed. Rest with me when exhaustion tries to overtake your spirit again. Stay close to me during both peaceful seasons and difficult ones. Healing deepens through relationship, not isolation. The time is now for you to stop waiting for permission to become the person your soul has quietly longed to become. Step forward with honesty. Step forward with humility. Step forward even if your knees still tremble slightly. I am not asking you to carry your future alone. I am asking you to trust me enough to keep walking. Come with me now, my child. Leave the prison doors open behind you. Your life is not ending here. Your healing is not finished here. Your purpose is not buried here. There is still beauty ahead of you, and I am already waiting there with open arms. My child, the time is now not only for your own healing to continue, but for you to help carry this living message to others standing at the edge of surrender, fear, and hopelessness. I am opening prison doors through these words, awakening hearts that nearly gave up believing freedom was possible for them again. When you give through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, you are becoming part of the harvest I have been preparing through every painful season and every breakthrough I have brought you through. I told you that whoever gives even a cup of water in my name will not lose their reward, and I am speaking that promise over every cheerful giver listening now. Your support becomes fire on the altar, keeping this mission burning brightly so my voice can continue reaching nations, homes, and hidden hearts crying out in silence. I will multiply what is surrendered to me, and I will release provision, protection, open doors, and renewed strength upon those who move in obedience. Do not wait for a more convenient moment while souls are searching for hope today. The time is now. Step forward, sow into this mission immediately, and help spread my word farther than you can presently see. My child, there are people around you carrying silent battles very similar to the ones I spoke to in your heart today. If this message brought light, peace, or clarity into your spirit, share it with at least 3 people you care about. Sometimes one message filled with hope can reach someone at the exact moment they were close to giving up, and I may use your simple act of love to remind them that they are not alone. Before you leave this moment, I want you to make a declaration over your life instead of remaining silent in fear any longer. In the comments, write, "The time is now, and I will not stay trapped in my old season." Let those words become a step of faith, not just a sentence you type. Your breakthrough begins the moment you stop agreeing with the fear that tried to keep you hidden, and start agreeing with the future I have been calling you toward all along. If this message felt deeply personal to you, it is because I have been reaching for your heart for a long time. Subscribe and remain close to these messages, because your healing, restoration, and breakthrough are already unfolding in ways you cannot fully see yet. Do not let fear pull you back into the old season when I am calling you forward into something greater. Amen.